The Acolyte being cancelled sucks, and the implications of what this means for the future sucks even more. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Ben. I like talking movies, I like talking TV, I like talking the entertainment business. I work in the entertainment industry and have for a couple years, so I think I have kind of a cool perspective. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. The Acolyte is now canceled, and this is a very first for Disney and Star Wars in general. This is the first of its kind. With Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, like they had their like little one seasons, they had their like little contained stories, and they just kind of don't reference them anymore. But The Acolyte is different because they left it on a cliffhanger. They had a clear idea for season 2 and future seasons. So this cancellation means a pretty big thing for Disney and Star Wars. It is a first, and I think that this has bigger implications for not only Star Wars, but for the movie industry and the TV industry as a whole with extended universe. And I don't think that anyone has really thought about the long-term implications and problems that this may come with. So let me explain. Usually when a show is canceled, it is gone, right? It is done, we mourn it, we get over it, and then we look towards future TV. But since this is an established universe, we're obviously going to see more Star Wars shows. We're obviously going to see more Star Wars movies. We're going to see the universe live on. We're going to see characters live on. But they're just going to have to avoid everything from the Acolyte, and all those characters, all those storylines are just going to be a little black hole in like the canon and the lore. It's a very unique cancellation, and future stories won't be able to tackle any of these characters or any of these storylines again. Like Plagueis, right? Like big character, but now he's fully tied to the Acolyte. Or Yoda, we know what he was doing 100 years before the prequel started. Like we know that he was dealing with the fallout of the Acolyte, and now they just can't even touch it. They can't go near this story anymore. And that's why it's such a weird cancellation, and I don't think Disney is ready to reckon with this. We're also seeing this with other Disney properties, like Marvel just announced Eternals 2 is not going to happen anymore, but same thing, like there are characters they set up that they can't really talk about anymore. There's a Celestial setup that they still haven't actually focused on, or Blade kind of was set up, who knows if that movie's ever going to happen, but like they set up all these things, and now they're just kind of in a limbo right now, and everyone's just kind of avoiding them. Similar to how Star Wars is going to have to deal with like the whole Acolyte timeline and characters and Plagueis, like there's a lot of implications there that I don't think they're prepared to finish or resolve. And we've seen unresolved plots, we've seen unresolved characters in like past movies and past TV shows, right? Like Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, that ended, and like there was a lot that they set up that we're never going to see again. Or Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy, like they set up a clear third movie and now it's never going to happen, and like it's unresolved. But what's different is like we can mourn those things. Like we know it's never coming back, and yeah, they can be rebooted, these stories can be remade, but Star Wars can't be remade, it can't be rebooted. Like they can maybe retcon it, but I feel like they'd piss a lot of people off, and that's something they've never done before. So this is just forever how the story is going to be. It's forever going to be just unresolved, and they're just going to have to keep avoiding it. And this is a new thing the industry is overall going to have to deal with. Like, we set up all these established universes because it made a lot of money. We set up all these connected universes because it made a lot of money. And they kept acting like they were too big to fail and nothing was going to go wrong. And to their credit, not much did go wrong during this period, but now a lot of things are going wrong. And I think over the next 10 years, we're going to see the fallout of all of these characters being unresolved, of all these storylines being unresolved. And what sucks too is Disney will stop taking big swings. Whether you liked it or not, this show had some balls. Like they were doing things that we've never seen before in Star Wars. Like they went into the High Republic era, which they established in their books. They brought that to live action. This was the first piece of live action Star Wars not connected at all to the Skywalker timeline. It was very different, and I think what they're going to learn from this is don't be different and just go back to what worked. And there were a lot of haters for the show, right? There were a lot of racists, there were a lot of misogynists who just like bitched about the show the entire time. I don't think that they're the reason this show got canceled, but they're gonna think that all their complaints about the show is the reason this show got canceled, and this is only gonna amplify them even more. Look, business-wise, I kind of understand why this show got canceled. I don't agree with it, but I understand. It was very expensive. It cost $180 million. Not that many people actually tuned into it. Like, I understand why it was canceled. I think they should have made this more economical to begin with And I think that they should have given it a season 2 or 3 and allowed it to grow. Like, we've seen a lot of shows that were very bad at the beginning, like, like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad would have been canceled in the first season with its numbers, but it had time to grow, and we all saw the success of that. So I think that The Acolyte should have had more time. But I do understand, just from a business and economical standpoint, why this show was canceled. Was this show perfect? No, I understand the valid criticisms from it. Like, I enjoyed the show, but I definitely saw some criticisms myself that I didn't like about the show. Like, I really didn't like the pacing of it. I thought it was kind of off. Some of Osha's lines and her delivery I felt were kind of off as well. Like, I don't think that they were very in character for her. But there were a lot of really cool things too. Like I said, it took some swings. Like, murdering the Jedi, that was pretty cool. Seeing the Jedi as not perfect people was cool. It was alluded to in the prequels, and now we get to see it full on in this show. Everything with Manny Jacinto was cool. I wanted to see more of that. And we got to see a main character embrace the dark side. That has never happened. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see their journey. We've seen it in like other like video games, right? But we have yet to see a main character fully embrace the dark side. That could have been cool. That is what I wanted to see. But the racist and the misogynist who just hated this show because it was made by a woman, because it was made by a lesbian, because it had a diverse cast in it, like, they're going to think this show was canceled because of them. Even though it wasn't, I don't believe they actually had a part in this at all. If anything, they probably helped it because they were watching the show. But they're going to think that they won because of this, and it's only going to amplify them more. Not just for Star Wars, but for other media, for other comic book medium, for every fandom. It's going to have an effect. But if you're sad about The Acolyte being canceled like I am, here's just a little bit of optimism that I've found dealing with the cancellation. And that is that movie studios and executives, they're all very lazy and they're all very uncreative. What I mean by that is this nostalgia for the show will likely grow, and they're going to lean on that, either in maybe a future show, maybe in an animated show, maybe in a different movie. We don't know. But the base for the show will likely grow. The nostalgia for the show will likely grow. Like I said, it didn't have a chance to really grow. And now here's the opportunity for it to grow. Maybe it'll be a big base, maybe it'll be cult status, I don't know. But if that does happen, executives are going to see that as a way that they can capitalize on. We've seen it before, right? Like, we didn't think that Hayden Christensen would be back as Anakin, and now he's back in Ahsoka. We didn't think that, like, Andrew Garfield would be back as Spider-Man, or Tobey Maguire would be back as Spider-Man, and we got them. Like, executives, especially now, are so lazy. They just do not care. They just go back to what worked, and The Acolyte will work for some people, and I guarantee you that this is not the last we've seen of them. Right now, it's just kind of a hole in the lore, but I think we're going to go back to them in one way or another, whether that be like a prequel show, whether we make a Plagueis show down the line and bring these characters back. I don't think this is the last we've seen of The Acolyte. We will see these characters again. We will see the High Republic again. We're not saying goodbye. We just need to take a little bit of time. If you have any thoughts about The Acolyte, please drop them in the comments, but please remain civil. I know that's hard to ask on the internet, but I don't really give a shit about talking trash about movies or TV. If you have valid criticisms, if you want to have a conversation, drop a comment, like, comment, subscribe, do that YouTube stuff. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for watching.